The following is a Stars and Strikes doubles rebroadcast featuring some of our most memorable recent programs.
WNDS Sports and Tri-State Megabucks present Stars and Strikes doubles. From the Londonderry Bowling Center, Stars and Strikes doubles features the best Candlepin bowlers from around New England in team competition. Stars and Strikes doubles is produced in conjunction with the New Hampshire Candlepin Bowling Association. And now your hosts, Doug Brown and Dan Brodeur.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Londonderry Bowling Center and another weekend of great Candlepin action here on the Win, starting, of course, with Stars and Strikes doubles. Doug Brown here along with Dan Murphy. We're so glad that you could join us. We have had our top seeds win the first two matches. The higher seed has won the first 2 weeks. Big score last week, too.
422, that's a big score. Could have been a lot bigger than that. They were making all kinds of spares, but the fills were a little disappointing. So that 422 could have easily been 450.
All right, let's meet our two teams for this semifinal show now. The team we're talking about that rolled the 422 a week ago, our number 3 seeded team from Bow, New Hampshire, Dan Brodeur, and his partner from Warren, Mass, Phil Clough.
I don't even know why I should mention the averages because they both 422 last week, but Dan's at 120, 645 for the roll-off score, and Phil Clough is at 114 and 639.
Yeah, because 422 for 3 games is a heck of a lot more than that. It's better than 140 a game for the 3 games, and they rolled that last week to knock off Dan Valcourt and Joe Ashline. So now in the semifinals, Dan and Phil will take a shot at our number 2 seeded team from Needham, Massachusetts, Reggie Deline, his partner from Somersworth, New Hampshire, Pat Pay.
Okay, Reggie comes in averaging 120, 673 was his roll-off score. Pat Pay's at 127 and 667.
All right, we've got $250 to the runner-up team today. The winning team, of course, advances to next week's championship match here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. We will get to the bowling right after we get to these messages. Don't go away. The semifinals about to begin here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. The top 3 teams remain. Dan Brodeur and Phil Clough, after their win last week, face off today against our number 2 seeded team, Reggie Deline and Pat Pay. Reggie and Pat finishing, of course, 3rd and 4th in the individual roll-off for this show. The number 1 and 2 finishers, our top seeded team, John Maffeo and Dave Arsenal. They'll be coming in next week to try and defend that number 1 spot. But right now, it's our semifinal match to begin the weekend here on the Winds. Glad you could join us. If last week was any indication, this should be a pretty good one.
And we're underway.
Dan Brodeur to start it. Dan Brodeur and Phil Clough last week had 19 marks, 17 spares, and then a double strike by Dan Brodeur in the last 2 boxes of the match.
So that match was a lot closer than the score would indicate.
That's right. They won it by 26, but it was a single pin differential coming down the stretch. And actually, Brodeur and Clough came from behind to win it. They were 12 pins down to start the 3rd game. There's your 1-pin chop again, the 2-pin. Dan still with some work to do.
He's going to go after the triangle in the left-hand corner, see if he can get out with 8. And he does. Gets him 17 through 2. Our first look at Pat Pay.
You'll see Pat twice this weekend on the Winds. Pat's our number 2 seed in singles as well, and it's been a long time since he's been here. Couple of years since Pat was on the Winds.
Left-hand wood low, I think, would help him, or he can go right on the 5-pin. Oh, too high in the wood.
singles semifinal tomorrow at noon here on WNDS. That will be number 3 seed John Petorsky against the number 2 seed Pat Pay. John Petorsky having won last week's match against Dave Richards. Again, our new schedule, if you're just joining us for the first or second time this season, welcome, and change things around here a little bit on the Winds. Make it very easy for you now. Bowling Saturday and Sunday, both at 12 noon. Stars and Strikes doubles here Saturday at noon, and then Sundays at noon from Park Place Lanes, Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
First mark of the match, off the ball of Pat Pay.
Now Phil Clough has a shot at one.
Got a good break there. Almost a full hit on the head pin, but just leaves the 4-7 and a piece of wood.
Yes. Mark in the third for Phil.
As we said at the opening, boy, they made some terrific spares last week. And this was what was happening last week. They'd make a spare, but the fill was a little disappointing. This time just 4.
Phil works as a designer for Warren Pumps Incorporated. Does a lot of his bowling, as Dan mentioned last week, at the State Bowl in Springfield. Phil and his wife Diane have 3 children, Eric, Quentin, and Deanna.
38 after 4, just a 21 pin total pins in those 2 boxes. Now our first look at Reggie, and Reggie will fill the spare. And
with
does
a
he?
strike. First ball of the day for Reggie Deline is a strike. Easy to add, 10 and 20.
30.
Thank you. I told you it was easy.
I know, yeah, I saw you a little stumbling right there for a second. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here for. Now he's got a chance for a spare on strike. 3, 6, and 10. May have to be a little careful with the wood.
Nope. 10-pin cost him. An early lead, though, for the team of Delein and Pay. 21 pins after the first 4-box rotation. And there you see it.
Haven't left the pin standing yet, Delein and Pay. 2 10 boxes. And a spare and a strike. Half Worcester right for Dan Brodeur.
Oh, yes. Fine shot. Dan Brodeur for the spare. After the half Worcester, he plays it in the 1-2 pocket and carries easily. That's a strike ball right there.
It really was very quick, too, for being this half Worcester, and then fills it with a 9 and oh!
For the spare, yes, into the corner.
2 in a row for Dan.
We'll talk more during tomorrow's singles show about how long it's been since Pat has been with us here on the Winds, but he did tell us that he kind of left the game alone for a little while. Was a little discouraged with the way he was bowling, so he put it down for a little bit, and now he's back on target again. I would say so, with a 127 average.
I'll tell you, Doug. Pretty lucky man. Just don't let the crew see what just was delivered.
Well, we had some, well, I guess we'd have to say late holiday treats delivered to us. But better late than never, I always say. Well, Lorraine Behrens of Derry, who's a longtime fan of the show, and former neighbors of mine.
And they haven't forgot you.
I guess not. Her daughter Susan, her granddaughter Michelle, big fans of Stars and Strikes, and they were kind enough to drop off some goodies. No eating during the show, Dan. Sorry. Just have to sit here and look at it.
Oh,
big strike.
Big strike is right, and 4 marks in a row as we babble on back here. And Phil Clough is doing the job down there in the lanes. That's 4 consecutive marks by the team of Brodeur and Clough. And nothing chintzy about those fills. And
ooh, Reggie almost did it
that
again.
one.
Yep, almost filled another spare with a strike. Oh, he just missed it. I think Reggie was concerned about making sure he didn't go into the channel and
pulled it to the left.
Just missed the wood. That time for the 10. That's a tough break.
So quickly, the lead swings back. Well, not quite. Reduced to just 1 pin now, but Reggie's facing a strike already posted.
Oh,
and
there
gets
it
one
is.
of his own.
Oh, my. Woo.
A stubborn
There it is.
7-pin at first here, right here. And eventually the strike to match the strike put up by Phil Clough. Dan Brodeur will fill that one now. His final 2 frames of game number 1.
Dan Brodeur takes out everything but the half Worcester pins on the left, the 2 and the 8.
Got a piece of wood right next to that 2-pin as well.
No.
9 fill on the strike, though.
And a 9 box.
Make it 123.
And Dan getting a little extra mix. The 5, 7, and 10 remain.
2 pieces of wood, one flat against the 5-pin, another one looking at him, which he'll probably try to take both of them if he can. No, missed the front one. Leaves a 7-10, 131 plus this final ball.
This is the second consecutive doubles taping that Dan Brodeur has appeared in. He was in the last series with his partner Mike Fish. They lost a very tough match to Tom Farrell and Bob Johnston by just 3 pins. Pat Pay gets a 9-pin drop.
And almost a double strike. He's working on a strike.
And the spare. So the lead for Pay and Delein will increase here in the 9th. The fill on that spare. Pat Pay on the head pin again for 8.
Gives them 134 through 9. And he's probably going to have, well, 2 ways. The 4-pin and slide the wood over, or after the 10-pin. Well, that's what he tried to do, is catch the 4-pin. I almost have to catch it clean in that instance and then push everything to the right. But
it's a 10, 144. The scores picking up right where they left off last week. Here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, a 12-pin lead for Reggie Deline and Pat Pay after a mark-filled Game 1. We'll be back with more in a minute. Over the last 8 years, the folks over at Park Place Lanes and all the generous bowlers who have taken part have raised more than $100,000 to benefit the Salem Boys and Girls Club. And this year, the annual bowl-a-thon will be held on Saturday, January 29th. And if you'd like to take part in person, you can certainly sign up and get a pledge sheet over at Park Place Lanes. There's still time to do that. Or if you'd like to participate here through Stars and Strikes, Dan and I are going to be participating and having a little friendly competition as to who can raise the most money for Salem Boys and Girls Clubs. And we're going to bowl 3 strings each and take the total pinfall, and that will help determine the pledge amounts that we raise. So if you'd like to pledge in either of our names, just send in to Bowl-a-thon, Dan or Doug, Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087. You can pledge either a flat amount, or if you'd like to wait and see how we do in the bowling, you can pledge an amount per pin for either one of us. Be sure and include your name and address when you send your note on into us. We appreciate it. All for a great cause.
That's right. Should send a challenge out to everyone who's participated on the show as a contestant to call on a pledge. I'll pick a few bucks up from these guys.
Reggie Deline starting game 2 with his team in the lead. 12 pins the difference. And Reggie takes a 9. Reggie from Needham, Mass. Works as a courier for Mass General Marketing. Does a lot of bowling at the Fairway Sports World in Natick and the Hanover Bowlodrome in Hanover, Mass. For the spare, yes indeed. Fine shot.
Certainly was. See, he catches a little more than the outside of the head pin. Domino effect on everything else, and the result is the spare.
Phil Clough crosses over to the Brooklyn pocket, and he will look at the diamond.
3, 5, 6, and 9.
Maybe. Yes. You don't see it made very often. He made that one clean.
It was full, too. It was but I think the slower ball in his case kept everything in play.
Full there as well. A 6 fill. Each team with 6 marks now. Phil has a very unusual style, but it really works for him. He gets down very, very low to the lane on the approach and really stretches out with that back leg. Takes a 9 box.
It's like he could bowl all day long and not get tired.
That's right.
Doesn't throw the ball very hard. Pat Pay just touching the head pin will be a good break if the 10 pin goes down, which it does. 2, 7, 8 left. Piece of wood in between the 2 and the 8. Nope, missed the object.
In contrast, certainly, Pat Pay, much more of a stand-up style bowler, but he also has a style that really looks effortless. I mean, he just goes up there and just keeps throwing, and the mechanics are always the same. And I guess that goes to something we've talked about before, which is that the simpler your motion is, the easier it is to duplicate it every time.
That's right. It's a matter of doing the same thing each and every time you throw the ball. And get into that zone. You can just hit that head pin almost continuously with that first ball.
Well, Pat's still looking on this box. He's got the full Worcester down there now. Watch out. A 4 box.
So much for us talking about his style. And
well, it happens to the best of them, huh?
well, it's happened to you and I once or twice, so yes, I guess the statement is true.
Dan Brodeur gets the mix and gets the 10 pin.
Everybody seems to be kicking out the 10 pin to give them a legitimate spare leave. This time Dan is at the 2, the 4, and the 7 pins. Oh boy, well, he threw his hands up. He knew he was too far to the right, but he got the benefit of both pieces of wood. Take a look at this one. Oh.
That other piece to the right isn't there. It's not a spare, probably. Through the middle for 5. Trying to play the 2 into the 3, but just missed. $9 for Dan. We will take a break. The difference in the match now just 3, almost at the halfway point. Reggie Deline and Pat Pay with that slim lead, and we'll be back with more in a minute. Reggie Deline.
And he'll shoot a diamond.
Same one that Phil Clough had.
That's right, the 3.569.
And he makes it.
Well, you see, he learned from watching Phil. Very nicely done, right there. Spare in a fifth for Reggie. He'll fill it himself. That was his first of his two. And an 8-pin drop, and the wood is turning, but could have problems with the 5-pin if he's not high enough on the wood.
Reggie with a very short 3-step approach. And it's 9. Phil Clough on lane 30 here at the Londonderry Bowling Center. Don't forget, our singles semifinal coming up tomorrow at noon here on the Winds of New England. John Patorsky against Pat Pay. $9 for Phil. All even in this game, but of course Reggie and Pat had the 12-pin lead coming in.
And again, missing to the right. 4 horsemen plus the 9-pin.
See how he handles it this time. Look out. Nope. Well, he got one, not the one he figured, probably. Let's see what happened on the spare attempt. Looked pretty good going down.
This looks real good right here, and then all of a sudden everything slows down and leaves the 2-pin standing. Pat Pay's got something to work with. He may try to shoot at the single pin on the left, the 6-pin, a 4-pin, I should say, and catch the wood at the same time.
Yes! Oh, yeah! Pat liked that one. That was a great shot.
Always nice when it goes. He actually pulled a second piece out of the channel for the 6 and 10.
Well, that's got to make him feel a little better after that 4 box, but then again, it's a 4, now make it a 5 fill on the spare. Not this time. Eight. 90 through 8. Dan Brodeur. Just missing the head pin. Just by a fraction.
And he'll shoot at the 4 horsemen left in the 10-pin. Piece of wood behind the 1 and the 2.
Quick reminder about our next taping session here at the Londonderry Bowling Center for Stars and Strikes doubles. It comes up this Tuesday, January 18th. Except we do have a little note for you if you're planning on coming out here to the Londonderry Bowling Center. We're starting at a later time, probably about 12 or 12:30. Just a couple hours later than we normally begin, which means we'll be here probably till about 6 or 6:30 in the evening. But we'd love to see you here at the Londonderry Bowling Center as we tape more episodes of Stars and Strikes doubles. That, again, will be this coming Tuesday, January 18th. So come on out and say hello. $10 for Dan that time.
And 86 through 8. 4-pin deficit in this game. 16 pins overall. The lead for Reggie Deline and Pat Pay.
Reggie is in the pocket again. 5-7. Got a shot at this with the cap facing him. I don't know if Reggie was trying to go down toward the 7 or not.
I think he was just trying to clip it. Now he's. I think I would have tried your way and tried to cap the wood and have the ball deflect off into the 5-pin, but whatever. It's 9 for Reggie in the 9th. 99. Last frame of game number 2 for Reg.
Last time Reggie was here was on the doubles program. He competed with Paul Berger. They lost a semifinal match to Bill Hart and Mark Arnold. Remember them last year in the spring? Running the table, 4 wins to get into the Tournament of Champions. Well, 2 opens for Reggie, so here is a golden opportunity for Phil Clough to make this thing closer, or maybe even give his team the lead if he puts a couple of marks up.
Well, he's got the 8-pin to look at. Could be a real roadblock out in front, though. Let's see if the ball will travel on through.
Yes.
Again, that slow ball, I think it keeps it in play just a fraction of a second longer, and he was able to carry the ball right straight through the deadwood into the 8-pin for the spare. Trailing by 15 minus this ball.
Oh, we got a very nice break there. That looked like it might have only been a 4 or 5 fill. And now it's 8.
And a chance to pick this up and actually give his team the lead.
He does. So anything over a, 5? Will give Brodeur and Clough the lead in the match. A little late flurry here. Well, make it 8. So it's a 122 middle game for Brodeur and Clough, enough to take the lead over Delein and Pay, 254 to 251. A tight match going here in the semifinals, and we'll be back for the 3rd and final game in a minute. Those that have a topic of general interest or a criticism of general interest that we want to inform everyone about, we will get to some of them on the air. So, as always, we appreciate your interest in the program.
Everything but the 2-pin for Dan. Piece of wood behind it. I don't think it's frozen, so I'll have to play the 2-pin.
Nope,
Ooh.
It was not frozen. You were correct. And it's still there. Well, last week, Brodeur and Clough had to come from 12 pins down to beat Dan Valcourt and Joe Ashline. Today, they go into Game 3, 3 pins to the good.
Right through the middle.
Of course, all the bowlers here with one goal in mind, and that is to see their team advance to the Tri-State Megabucks Stars and Strikes Doubles Tournament of Champions, which will be coming up in just a few months.
Well, Pat Pay has 2 open frames to work on, trailing by just 3. 254, 251 are the totals after 2 games.
Prior to the Doubles Tournament of Champions this year, we have a little surprise in store, which we will be informing you about in the next several weeks.
Oh, we're still not going to tell him?
No.
Okay.
Can't yet. It's too early.
Oh,
There's a
nice shot by
spare
Pat
for
Pay.
Collapsing everything into the corner.
I mentioned blindfold bowling, and it's not that. Opposite-handed, it's not that.
8-pin drop. Maybe it'll be like one of those beer commercials. We'll combine bowling with something else.
Like a triathlon. bowling, skiing, and sumo wrestling. Half twist to right.
Well, advantage for Delein and Pay here in the early going of Game 3 as Pat puts up those back-to-back spares.
This will be 3 open frames for the team of Brodeur and Clough.
Oh, fine 10. Played that perfectly. Phil knew exactly where he wanted to go on that shot.
I figured he'd have trouble with the 7-pin, but the 7-pin went pretty quick as well. But he needs marks now. Oh boy.
Deserved better.
6, 7, and 9. It's going to shoot just like the 10-pin we're up. Hopefully he'll clip the 6-pin on the way by. Too full and on the left-hand side instead of the right. So he's going to be open again. That'll be 4 consecutive open boxes starting this third and final game.
39 through 4. But remember, Delein and Pay working on a mark, and they've already taken the lead back in this game. Reggie a little high, carries 6 on the fill.
3, 6, 4, 7. Piece of wood next to the 4, 7, which could help. It's too full on the 3-pin.
9 bucks. All the action here on Stars and Strikes doubles presented by Tri-State Megabucks. Just imagine. Give it a try. Tri-State Megabucks. You never know.
No, not this time. So to keep at the lead at 11, he'd have to clear out all 3 of these pins. They're opposite of 10 frames, so.
This match remains very tight. Just 10 pins the difference. Reggie Deline and Pat Pay with the lead. We'll take our time out here and come back with the closing boxes of this semifinal match on Stars and Strikes doubles. Stay with us. Well, 6 boxes to go in this one. This is Dan Brodeur. He and his partner, Phil Clough, 10 pins behind. Wow. Wow.
There goes the head pin. Now he's got the head pin and the 3-pin out of there. 1 ball remaining.
Look out. Oh, my. 3 balls, 3 pins for Dan Brodeur.
Wow, is right.
See if he can shake that off. Right back in the pocket. Spare leave on the 5-9 now. No, too fine.
So they'll be open for the first 6 frames in game number 3, and have to hope that Pat Pay doesn't put any marks up.
No, Pat's off to the left. And he takes out 1. He's catching. Trying to get an out here, and he does with a 9. Picks up 6 pins in count with a 9 box there. That's why that 3rd ball was so important. The lead goes to 16 in the match, and there is a big strike. Pat was just waiting. He thought that it was going to go, but then he wasn't sure.
Just had his hands up in the air saying, what do I have to do?
It went over, trust us.
Just missing. That's a leave that I just dislike totally. A quarter of an inch to the right, you missed the head pin, leaves 7 pins standing.
Boy, that's a pretty good effort right there. Leaving the 4-6. But time is beginning to get short for Dan Brodeur and Phil Clough. Only 3 boxes remaining. They already trail by 16 plus the fill on that strike. So it's probably going to be more than 20. Phil really needs to put a mark up here. And it's not going to be easy.
I was going to say, if he's going to put a mark on with this shot, it's going to be one tremendous spare. So that'll be 8 boxes without a mark this third game.
The 9. So a couple of big balls here for Reggie Deline on the strike fill. There you see the damage the team has done already. Reggie misses the head pin, but gets away with it.
Remember, this is the fill on a strike.
Had a shot at it. And we're going to have a piece of wood checked and probably removed. That wood is still rolling, but seems certain to stay above the deadwood line. Reggie shouldn't have much problem with it anyway. The angle looks a little bit more severe than it really is. So it'll be cleared away, and he'll have a clear shot at the 7 pin. The lead in the match now 25 pins, make it 26 pins for Delein and Pay.
And with only 2 boxes remaining for Dan Brodeur and Phil Clough, they already will be in a strike situation.
John Maffeo and Dave Arsenault await the winners of this match. That'll be championship week next Saturday here on the Winds of New England.
25 pins, 2 frames remaining. Six, 7. Piece of wood behind, 2 pieces just to the left.
Nope. Well, Dan is probably going to spend a lot of time thinking about that 3 box, but really, that's not the story of this third game. The team just went cold. They haven't had a mark this game yet. And wouldn't you know, the strike in the 10th. How many times do you see that happen?
Well, even if he were to throw a strike, the other team would just have to come up with about 14 pins.
Well, Dan was rooting for it, but the 5 pin is still there. So it's a total of 10 marks for Brodeur and Clough, a 98 third game, and a 3-game total of 352, and that will not be enough to beat Reggie Deline and Pat Pay. And that did it right there. Or that did it, I should say. No, I was right the first time. The first ball did it. Mark number 12 for the team of Delein and Pay. Not quite. So this series is holding to the seedings so far. The higher seeded team has won the first 3 matches. 124 for Delein and Pay, 375. And a win in the semifinals over Dan Brodeur and Phil Clough with a 352. That's going to be a 124 third game for Pat Pay. We'll correct those scores for you and check them again when we come back to wrap it up. But a win for Reggie Deline and Pat Pay, and we'll be back on Stars and Strikes Doubles in a minute. And welcome back to the Londonderry Bowling Center. Doug Brown along with Dan Murphy, and in the semifinals here on Stars and Strikes Doubles, the team that exploded for a 422 last week, just, sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. We saw an example of that today.
Well, I think they were hoping it was just a 2-game total today. I mean, they just fell apart that third game, but that happens in doubles. If you get that early mark early in the game, things seem to go a lot smoother than I'm talking. But it just didn't happen for them that third game. They got behind and just couldn't mount any offense at all.
All right, let's talk to all of our bowlers. First of all, let's call up Phil Clough and Dan Brodeur. We have third place checks for you gentlemen, $250 to share among you, and boy, after last week, how quickly things can turn around. It just completely disappeared there in the third game.
Yeah, that last game we both got sour at the same time, and there was a result. We lost.
Is there? I suppose if we knew why this happened, you could probably make $1 million telling people, but it's tough to figure sometimes.
No way to avoid it, I guess. Unfortunately, I let Phil bowl singles the last match. It didn't work out.
Well, we had third place prize money for you. We appreciate both you guys coming as always, and of course, there's still plenty of time before the end of the season, so hopefully we'll see you again.
It's always a pleasure being here.
All right, Phil, thanks very much. Congratulations, and thank you, Dan, too.
Thank you.
And again, thanks, same again, and congratulations on a fine 422 a week ago to get to the semifinals. All right, let's bring up Pat Pay and Reggie Deline now. Our winners advancing into the championship match. Congratulations, sir. Welcome back. And Reggie, congratulations to you. Well, you just you got it done when you needed to there, and got the marks necessary to win.
Yeah, the last string they didn't have much to shoot at, so fortunately we got a couple marks and we stayed ahead of them. So
seemed like you guys had a pretty good partnership going. You were filling each other's marks quite a bit, leaving each other set up when you came up there.
Yeah, it's the second time I'm bowling with Pat now, and Pat's a good bowler, and that's why I gave him the extra 2 boxes.
Well, that's why you're also going to be going to the championship, because you bowled well together and you got the win. So now you get to face John Maffeo and Dave Arsenault.
yeah, well, I'm ready.
I have a feeling that'll be a pretty good team.
I'm all set for them.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks very much. Congratulations. Pat Pay and Reggie Deline. And here's the way it shapes up for next week. It's been right by the book so far in the first 3 weeks of this Stars and Strikes Doubles series. The 4 seed beat the 5, the 3 beat the 4, and now today the number 2 seeds, Reggie Deline and Pat Pay, knock off the 3rd seeded team, and they will face our number 1 seed, John Maffeo and Dave Arsenault, for the title next week.
So what you're saying, it's over with before it even no sense bowling it next week. I don't know. They have something to say about that. The top seed's going to have all they can handle. A newcomer coming in, Dave Arsenault. That's should be interesting, and it's for all the marbles.
Again, a reminder before we leave you about the Salem Boys and Girls Club Bowl-a-thon, which will be coming up 2 weeks from today. That's January the 29th. Dan is lobbying for votes right now in a blatant attempt to endorse himself for this competition. But Dan and I are having a pretty friendly competition here as far as the 3 strings of bowling that we're going to bowl for the Salem Boys and Girls Clubs. And if you would like to participate, we'd very much like to have your donation. It goes to a great cause. More than $100,000, as we mentioned earlier, has been raised over the past 8 years. And if you would like to support either Dan or myself as we bowl 3 strings against each other in order to raise money for the Salem Boys and Girls Clubs, you can send in a straight pledge amount, or you can pledge an amount per pin for one of us, and you can mail that on into Park Place, or rather mail it into Bowl-a-thon, and then Dan or Doug, Park Place Lanes, Route 28, Windham, New Hampshire, 03087, and sometime between now and the 29th, Dan and I are going to get together and roll those 3 games, and we'll report back on the score and let you know how we did raising money.
Practice, Doug, practice.
I'm working on it. All right, that'll about do it. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time for Dan to solicit votes, so we'll have to wait till next time. Don't forget, it'll be our singles semifinal tomorrow at noon here on the Winds of New England. It'll be Pat Pay again, this time in singles competition against John Potorsky. Until then, and don't forget Championship Week next weekend here on Stars and Strikes Doubles. Until then, for Dan Murphy and the whole crew, I'm Doug Brown. Have a good weekend.